There was a time in my life when fear was making far more of my decisions than I wanted to admit. Not because I was weak, not because I was broken, but because I was human and I didn't yet know how to relate to fear differently. And that's a huge part of why this work matters so much to me now. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Stephanie Best. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist who's passionate about inspiring high achieving humans with anxiety to live courageously and build lives they love through mind body wellness. But at the time I'm talking about, years ago, I was in a different kind of doctoral program, one for marine biology, believe it or not. On the outside, people thought, oh, she's smart, capable, high functioning, together. On the inside, I was crippled with self doubt, desperately trying to hide my insecurities and the flaws that I perceived in myself. I was coping in all kinds of unhealthy ways that maybe some of you have struggled with through alcohol, food, perfectionism, people pleasing, overworking, you name it. And I was finding anything but peace. When I finally made the courageous decision to take off my mask and ask for help, something magical happened. I started to find my purpose, and in doing so, begin the long journey home to myself. I remember in particular one pivotal moment. I was a graduate student in marine biology at the University of California, Santa Barbara, and I saw an ad in the student paper. It was inviting people who were concerned about loved ones in their lives that might have been struggling with their own mental health issues, similar mental health issues to the ones I was struggling with. And the ad said something like, are you concerned about your loved one? Come, let's support one another and talk about the best way to approach them or try to help. And I don't know, it was curiosity maybe, but I decided I wanted to go and just sit in the back and listen as these people talked about others like me. Um, and I was listening for a long time, hiding in the back as I had hidden for so many years in my life. And they were getting some things right, and then some things they really weren't understanding. And at one point, I felt like I was having an out of body experience, and I saw myself raising my hand, and this little voice in my head said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop, stop." And they called on me and said, "Yes, you in the back." And I heard my voice say, "I don't know if this would help, but I'm in recovery from the kinds of things you're talking about. And if it would help, I'd like to share my experience." So it's like 40 heads in the room turned and looked at me, a live specimen, and started to ask me questions. And I just started to answer truthfully and be seen for the first time in a long time to actually talk about the things I had tried so desperately to hide from others. And I wasn't rejected. No, in fact, it was incredible. At the end, people were coming up to me, parents, friends, tears in their eyes, some of them giving me a hug, saying, thank you so much for your courage. Thank you for sharing so bravely of your experiences. You've helped us so much." And I'm getting chills now talking about it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. The voice in my head had told me for so long that if I let people in, if I let people see the real me, I was going to be rejected. Something awful was going to happen. I had to protect myself at all costs. And instead, I got real. I got open. I got honest in the service of helping others. And I walked out into that beautiful Santa Barbara night. I remember the sky and the stars were so clear that night. And my inner compass really perked up and I felt something bigger than myself, a purpose, a calling, an understanding, at least the beginnings of an understanding that everything I had gone through, all the things I had suffered through, all the things I had struggled with, they weren't for naught. They were necessary. They were helpful. They were part of teaching me, showing me, helping me to have not only compassion for people who would be going through the sorts of things that I went through myself, but to be able to talk to them from a place of knowing, from and I've been there kind of place. And then to continue my own healing journey so that I could eventually teach them how to do it differently, how to liberate themselves from fear so they didn't have to suffer, how to find their own purpose, how to reconnect with themselves, how to show up openly and honestly and courageously in their lives and find their way home to themselves. Since then, I've been blessed after becoming a clinical psychologist with the opportunity to help so many people. So this work is personal to me. This channel is personal to me. I promise I won't speak from a pedestal. I'll speak from a place of knowing. Like I said, this is personal, not just professional. Although I have all the training and the degrees necessary, the real reason I'm here is I care about helping people stop letting fear run the show. So this channel, which is fairly new, will blend psychology and mind body wellness and mindfulness and a whole lot of real life courage. It's for people who struggle with anxiety, with overthinking, perfectionism, pressure, mostly from within, and people who want practical tools without jargon overload and who would like to live a more courageous, values driven life. It also helps if you appreciate honesty and warmth and a real human approach. Um, and in return, what you'll get real life reflections, practical mind body tools, encouragement from me, and conversations about fear, courage, and wellness. Most importantly, I will give you an unscripted look into my life and how I practice the very same skills that I teach clients every day. And if you're wondering where to begin, I recently shared a video called What Your 80-Year-Old Self Wants You to Know About Fear. It's a beautiful place to start if fear has been in the driver's seat lately. So, if this sounds like something that you need or would benefit from, I'd love to have you here. Please consider subscribing. And if you'd like to sign up for the Courageous Living newsletter, I'll place the link in the description below. I'll leave you with this one simple truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's learning not to let fear drive. Trust me, if I can do it, you can too. Let's go on this journey together. I'll see you next time.